And he created the animals in binaries. And this is again reiterated in Surah Yasin. سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون. So he created everything in binaries. So who's a non-binary? ليس كمثله شيء. So isn't it interesting that people want to be called non-binary? In other words, they want to be called God. You can't be a non-binary. Allah made you in a binary condition, and you can't get out of that, no matter how hard you try. You cannot get out of that. You're either a male or a female, or you're a mushkil. And then, interestingly enough, and I will say this, Imam al-Tahanawi, and I don't know how he came up with this, Imam al-Tahanawi, in his famous book on the Mustalahat, when he talks about homosexuality, he said homosexuality is either tab'i, and then he says ay jabilli, it's something that is somebody's born with. Or he says it's min al-i'tiyad, it's something that they have accustomed themselves to. So he actually acknowledges that there are people that are born with this predilection. And then he says it could be for reasons, and he talks about the possible reasons, sometimes related to the parents' relationship or the sexual practices of the parents. But then he says that, and then there are those who only are attracted to the same sex, and then there are those who are attracted to both sexes. So he identifies the bisexual. 250 years ago, he identifies the bisexual. And then he says something extraordinary that I thought. He says, some of these people are outwardly in the form of men, but in reality they're women. So there are people in the world that feel they're in the wrong body, which is an immense tribulation. And historically, Muslims were actually, these people are very marginalized in Muslim societies, but Muslims are actually quite tolerant of them. They didn't, you'll find these people that they go to weddings, and they, even in Mauritania, they have these people. So these are like mushkil people. But my point being is that Allah is telling us here that we created you, Allah created us in binaries. And you have to, you cannot say you're a non-binary if you're a Muslim. You can't say that. It's just not, it's not acceptable as a Muslim. Now people are going to say, who are you to tell me what's acceptable as a Muslim? Well, I mean, okay, then we just give up religion. Doesn't mean anything. If religion is only what anybody says it is, then what is the religion? It doesn't mean anything. So now you're in pure relativism. And I personally, as somebody that's in a tradition that was inherited and transmitted and handed down, and I'm just a steward. We're caretaker, and I'll be the first to admit I'm a lousy steward compared to the people that went before. I'll be the first to admit that. But this is what we have. This is what I was given. My shuyukh taught me, and then I'm supposed to teach other people, and then people are going to come after me, and they'll teach. And then, inshallah, it's a great honor to be a link in a chain, but that's all you are. And if you're a weak link, that's tragic for you. But my point is, there is a normative Islam. You can't just make up the religion and say what you think it is or what you want it to be, because it's called Islam, which means submission. It's not called whatever I want. That's not the name of the religion. It's called Islam. What are you submitting to if you decide what it is? What are you submitting to? I mean, that's a question for people to ask themselves.